What's up, guys? I got a chance to make another tuning video for you guys today. It's a little bit windy, so hopefully it's not doesn't show up on camera too bad. I'm gonna go over how to tune your rifle today, in specific any FX rifle. It's gonna work like this. Some FX rifles, like the Crown or like the Impact, have an additional option to tune, which is your transfer port on the Crown, and on the Impact you have your valve restrictor, your valve limiter. So aside from that, your basic tuning is going to be the same. You can, those other features that I just mentioned allows you to fine tune it a little bit more, but the basic process of keeping your reg pressure and your hammer spring in harmony is what I'm going to be going over today. So just a quick bit of info to let what I found is whenever there's two extremes. You can have your hammer spring too weak for your reg pressure and it will be very obvious, or you can have your hammer spring too high for your reg pressure. So if your hammer spring is too weak, you're going to basically only be letting out a short burst of air, and you'll hear it. It's like a fast pink, and not very much air will come out. And that typically means either your reg pressure is too high or your hammer strength is too low. Could be one or the other depending on where your reg pressure is. The opposite of that, if you have your hammer strength way too high for your regulator pressure, you're going to see a lot of inconsistencies in your speed. You're hitting that valve too hard, and you don't really need to. You just need to find the sweet spot of where the hammer is hitting your valve with just enough force to open it and use up all the air that's available, whether you have a plenum or not. With the plenum, I've come to find out that you'll find your peak sweet spot at a much lower reg pressure than you would without something that doesn't have that power plenum or plenum space available. So today I'll be going over that process. The method that I use is we'll start out. This gun is set at 100 bar on the regulator. We're going to start out with the hammer spring too weak, so you can kind of see what that's like, and it's not going to open up the valve all the way. From that point, you'll take your hammer and go up in strength. You're going to increase the tension on it, and you'll see your speed go up. You keep on increasing your hammer strength, and your speed's going to keep on going up. Now eventually what will happen is you're gonna increase your hammer strength and your speed is not gonna go up. And what that means is you already have adequate hammer strength to open up the air that's available, open up the valve to let all the air out. So in that case, if you're not happy with that speed, you need to up your reg pressure. So the method that I do with that, use to tune this, is got the chronograph set up. You can't see it, it's right off camera, but I got my little GoPro pointing right at the chronograph screen. We're gonna shoot. I'm going to go up in the hammer strength, and you're going to see when I hit that plateau on the speeds. I'm going to go up until basically it doesn't give me no more speed. I'll increase the strength. When I plateau, I'm going to go back down to the last notch that I saw the speed increase and leave it there and check my speed. If that speed isn't what I want, or if the groups aren't what I want, then I want to go up in pressure or up in speed from there. Then you'll go ahead and make an adjustment up on your regulator. Then you'll start all over. When you make an adjustment on your regulator, that means you're going to require more hammer strength to open it up, because you got more pressure for that hammer to knock the valve in and let out. So they work in harmony with each other, and we'll go over that today. So let me get the chronograph turned on and make sure that everything's reading well, and we'll get started. Okay, I've got things set up. I've got the chronograph on. I've got the camera on it. Starting out, I've got this set at 100 bar. Let me see here if you guys can see this. Right there at 100 bar. So that's going to be our starting point. As far as the hammer, I had this thing originally maxed out. To get your hammer spring maxed out for the Wildcat, what I did is unscrew the back power wheel. When you do that, watch out for the little steel BB that falls out. Don't lose that. Take that, put it to the side. You'll see a little cup, a little black cup in there with an Allen screw sticking out of the back. Grab it and pull it out. Take an Allen wrench, I think it's 1.5 is the size, and back that Allen screw all the way out until you look inside that cup. The inside of the cup is where the spring goes. It's a spring seat. Back that Allen screw all the way out until you don't see any more of that screw sticking inside that cup. That'll be your starting point. You'll reassemble it, put your cup back in there, screw on your power wheel again, make sure you put that little BB. It helps to just point the gun down so the BB doesn't roll off. And what you'll do from there is it's what's going to happen when you go to cock your rifle. It's not going to allow it to cock. It's actually too far out, but that's going to be your starting point to gauge where you're at, where your max is. What you're going to do is take your Allen and stick it through your adjustment hole on your power wheel, and you're going to start screwing it clockwise, screwing it in. From there, screw it in a half a turn at a time. So make a half a turn and then cock your rifle and see if it cocks. If it does cock, pull the trigger and decock the rifle before you make any more adjustments. Don't ever make any adjustments to your hammer wheel back here, your power wheel, unless you got the rifle decocked. So go in on your Allen screw until your rifle cocks. If you found the spot where it just barely clears, go in at least 3/4 of a turn. That's your max hammer spring. Now, the way I have mine set up, from that position there, from max hammer tension, I went in 3 full turns. So I got my little adjuster wheel all the way back to the adjustment arrow, stuck my Allen in there, and went 3 full turns in. That's where I'm at right here. And at that hammer spring tension and 100 bar on my regulator, that's my starting point. That's weak enough on the hammer spring to where it's barely opening up the valve all the way, and I could hear it. So that's where we're going to start. Also, you don't have to just use a similar weight pellet. If you only have a few of the pellets that you like to shoot left and you have some other pellet that's not necessarily accurate, use your burner pellets, because you basically just need to shoot something over the chronograph to get us in the ballpark for the speed. If you're trying to tune for a lightweight pellet, don't start off with the heavyweight pellet. You got to understand that the pellets of similar weight are going to be of similar speeds. If a pellet that's way off on weight as to what you're wanting to tune it for, don't use something that's totally far off on weight and expect to get similar results. Use something similar, but I'm saying is, say if you're tuning for slugs, you don't have to fire 100 slugs through the chronograph to get everything tuned. Use the Mark II heavies, the redesigns. Those weigh about as much as most slugs, and that'll give you the ballpark speed. Once you get it close to what you want, you can switch to the slugs and kind of fine tune from there to save yourself some money. So I'm using 25 grain Air Arms pellets. It's 25 caliber, and keep in mind I've got a power plenum on here. I've also got the human transfer port, so my speeds are probably going to be a little bit higher unless you have these same modifications. It's not a big deal. What we're working on is keeping your regulator pressure and your hammer spring in harmony to get a very consistent tune. So we'll start by shooting off 3 rounds. We'll see where we're at. I'm going to start making adjustments after that, going up in the hammer spring tension until I hit a plateau, basically until adjusting the hammer spring doesn't give me any more speed. So let's start and let's see where that point is. Okay, 834. .903. So not too consistent right now. Okay, so that's 4. I'm going to go up 1 on my hammer spring tension. And I'm going to pay attention to my speed and see what it does. From here, the speed should go up. .940. Error. Okay, 938. So that's close to 940. So I'm going to go up 1 more on my hammer spring. And I'm going to keep in mind that number. As soon as it stops going up in speed, when I'm making adjustments to my hammer spring, that means you got to go up on your reg pressure if you haven't reached your desired speed. Okay, we went up a little bit. Okay, and as you see here, just with those two shots were more consistent than when I was first starting out. That means when we first started out, our spring pressure was a little bit weak and it wasn't as consistent as if you were letting all the air out that was available to come out. Let's go up another one. I'm now at power setting number 4, and we'll see if we go up in speed. Barely went up in speed. Okay, up one more. Now I'm on a setting 5. Okay, there's our plateau. That shot was slower than the last one. So that means I'm gonna go back down and take my pellets out. Make sure it's not cocked while you're making adjustments. At this point, I know if I want to go any higher on speed that I'm gonna have to go up on my reg pressure. When I do that, I'm gonna have to start basically all over on checking my hammer spring tension again. Now, through this little shot string here, I went from power setting 1 all the way to 5. And if you noticed, in the middle, it's the most consistent. And that's when the gun is in harmony, when you're not overpowering your reg pressure or underpowering your reg pressure. So that's kind of what you're looking for, is that sweet spot. Now, I can't give you guys a recommendation on what speed to shoot every pellet or every slug. The general rule is that the JSB style pellets, you know, your Diabolo pellets, they are most stable from 870s up to about 920s. Maybe 920 might be pushing it, but I have had the JSB Hades grouping at 915. You want to kind of be in that ballpark. If you're going to slugs, I don't want to say that speed is necessary, but in my case, in my experience, the faster you're able to shoot them, the flatter the better my groups have been. So that's just kind of a general rule of thumb. If you guys need to kind of find some more information about pellets, do a research online, you know, and there's plenty of talk in the forums about what people are shooting, what pellets at what speeds. But if you're shooting a regular JSB style pellet, you're going to be pretty safe to tune around the 900 mark, and 900 is going to be a good spot. Once you get close to the speed that you want, say we wanted to shoot, you know, 950 feet per second with these pellets, I would stop there and I would do some fine-tuning adjustments. You know, go shoot some groups, shoot 5-shot groups. You go back and adjust the little screw that I told you how to adjust in the beginning to set your max hammer. Put your power wheel to that adjustment and give it a quarter turn and go up or go down depending on where your speed is. If you're at 900 feet per second and you're trying to tune for the JSB style pellets, I would adjust that screw clockwise. Go a quarter turn, fire one burner shot, then load your clip up and make a few shots and check out what they're doing on target. And then go down again, screw it in again, a quarter turn. Put it back, put your hammer spring back to where you had it and shoot another group and see if it improved or see if it got worse. If it got worse, maybe try going the opposite way on your hammer tension. And it's that little bit of fine tuning, you know, if you're willing to put in that little bit of extra work, that's how people end up with these one whole groups at 50 yards, or all of your groups all of your pellets touching at 50 yards. So that kind of shows right there what you need to do and when the signs are for adjusting your reg pressure and adjusting your spring. You should never really just adjust them both at the same time, because then you're not really paying attention to what's going on. You kind of want to cross all your lines as you're going up in your tune to make sure you don't skip nothing. And you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. If you really want to put a good tune, invest the time in it, pay attention to your speeds, and tinker around with it until you get where you want. So if you guys have any questions about how to go about this, leave your comments down in the comment section and I'll get back to you. I can't really say much more as far as tuning it. That's the base of it. You know, you watch what your speeds are doing and go up in your hammer spring until you run out of speed, and then that tells you right there you need to go up on your reg pressure if you want to go higher in velocities. Another thing that I also mentioned is, I have the power plenum on here. This plenum gave amazing results for the Wildcat. If you have a Wildcat Mark III, I would highly suggest getting the power plenum, or any of them. I think that this fits any of the Wildcats, and I know the Dreamline has a plenum available for them. They have multiple options for the size, and I know that, for the Wildcat they did. For the Dreamline, I don't know if they have multiple lengths, but they can stack together. I would recommend off of this, based off of my tuning, to get the double. 2.5 inches is what this one is. I would go with something close in length because I'm at 100 bar on my regulator and very low on my hammer spring. I can still crank my hammer spring up quite a bit. It wouldn't do no good. I wouldn't get no more speed. But I'm saying it's such a low tune, I'm already shooting these pellets at 950 feet per second consistently. So you guys have any other questions, like I said, leave your comments down there, and hopefully this helps you guys, some of you guys out. I know I've gotten several comments over the last few videos of people wanting me to make a tuning video, and this is how I go about it. And if you're willing to put in the little time of going, you know, you can even go 1/8 of a turn if you want to start testing. You know, when you fine tune, once you get your speed into the ballpark, you're moving your quarter turns and checking your shots and checking your consistency. You can go down to 8 turns. You know, so if it's all up to how willing you are to put in the tedious work to find that perfect tune for your gun. And then once you do, make sure you document your settings. You know, keep in mind how many times you adjusted your hammer spring, or exactly what your regulator's at, and exactly what speed you're at. If you at least pay attention to your regulator and what your speeds are on the chronograph, then that way you can get back to that tune should something get adjusted. Say you gotta degas the gun for some reason, and you fill it back up and the reg is at a different setting. You'll know exactly where you can go back to, or if you want to shoot different, multiple loads, you can switch between one or the other pretty easy without having to go through this whole process again. So that's going to be it for this video. The next video I put out will be, since I have it tuned so low, I'm going to work my tune up for a slug. And I got some more of the FX hybrids slugs on the way. I'll probably throw a tuning video about those, working from a slow speed all the way up, and see what we can get for groups for that. Last time when I first got this gun, I didn't realize I was almost out of hybrids. And I was able to shoot a few shots to the chronograph, and that was it. I ran out. So that'll probably be the next video. Like I said, I hope this video helps some of you guys out, and I'm more than willing to answer your guys' questions if you just leave them in the comments. So thanks for watching.